We're going to go ahead and get started. I want to welcome you all. Thank you all for being here today. I just want to make a note to my colleagues that our press briefing today will be recorded, and so though if we don't have that many questions in the room, we will have people listening to this and probably reaching out to us with other questions. Today's press conference is for the International Day for Mine Awareness and Assistance in Mine Action, which takes place tomorrow, the 4th of April. It was decided in December 8th, 2005, that we would celebrate this day and bring attention to what is going on with mine action around the world, as well as what the United Nations is doing. As you know, the treaty came into force in 1999, so this is the 26th year. There's 164 member states who are states parties and have adhered to the Convention for Anti-Personnel Mines. We say every year, and just to make it clear, that obviously since this convention did come into force, there's certainly, and there's no doubt about it, that there's been hundreds of millions of landmines that were not fabricated or laid. That said, the fight against landmines around the world continues, and today our briefing is to give a bit of an update about that. Today we're being joined by Richard Boulter, who is the head of our Design, Operational Support, and Oversight, so he knows the UNMAS programs from the 21 countries around the world about as well as anyone in New York, which is why we brought him here today, so he could cover a broad swathe of what we do and where we do it and how we do it. We also are joined by Fatma Zourrig, who is the chief of our Mine Action Program in Libya, and she will give a quick update on what's happening in Libya, what work she's getting underway. And we also have Edwin Faigmane, who is our chief of mine action from Nigeria. So they'll both give brief statements. The three of them will give little brief statements, and then we would open up for any questions that you have. And we are prepared to answer everything that we can. I'm going to give one quick little update on the attack that happened against the UNOPS compound in Gaza on the 19th of March. On the 24th of March, the Secretary General, through his spokesperson, stated that he obviously condemned that attack. The thing we can constat is that it certainly was a projectile from outside. It was not a booby trap in the building. But he did call for an investigation, and I just want to announce that that investigation is underway. It's being led by the United Nations Department of Safety and Security. UNOPS and UNMAS are participating in that investigation, and I understand from this morning that many of the interviews have been completed. I do not have an update, but the Department of Safety and Security will be getting back to you perhaps as early as next week, but I'm not 100% sure of that. I will leave that to their department when they come out with whatever they're going to come out with. Further, I just want to state that we are still working in Gaza. We have 6 people there as of this morning. We've kind of gone into the posture of the before the ceasefire, where we're really just doing the best we can to escort the United Nations missions that are taking place there. And for example, we did escort the mission that went to investigate the killing of the health workers. So that's where that is. So I just wanted to give a quick update on that. And now let me pass over to my colleague. Oh, actually, no, let me do one more thing, which is to make this official for you all. I'm going to, and there's a handout in this room, and we'll send it out online, of the speakers, so you'll have their names and a bit of their background. And you also will have a little bit of an overview of what the day is and what the theme is for this year. But let me now just take the moment, since it is the time that we have attention for this, to read the message from the Secretary General, which will be obviously for this day. Around the world, more than 100 million people are at risk from landmines, explosive remnants of war, and improvised explosive devices. From Afghanistan to Myanmar, from Sudan to Ukraine, Syria, the occupied Palestinian territory, and beyond, these deadly devices litter rural and urban communities, indiscriminately killing civilians and blocking vital humanitarian and development efforts. Even when the guns fall silent, these remnants of war remain, lurking in fields and on pathways and roadways, threatening the lives of innocent civilians and the livelihoods of communities. Year in and year out, the brave mine action personnel of the United Nations work with partners to locate and remove these weapons, provide education and threat assessments, and ensure people can live, work, and travel safely. they do so at great risk, as demonstrated most recently in Gaza. This year's theme for the International Day of Mine Awareness and Assistance in Mine Action, Safe Futures Start Here, reminds us of the critical role of mine action in rebuilding shattered communities, supporting survivors, and forging peace. I appeal to all states that have not yet done so to ratify and fully implement the Anti-Personnel Mine Ban Convention, the Convention on Cluster Munitions, and the Convention on Certain Conventional Weapons. The humanitarian norms and principles enshrined in these treaties must be upheld and preserved. And I urge states to uphold the global commitments in the recently adopted Pact for the Future to restrict or refrain from the use of explosive weapons in populated areas and to support all efforts to end the threat of explosive ordnance. Mine action works. Together, let's commit to build safe futures, starting here and now. That was the Secretary General's statement for April 4th, 2025. And now I hand over to my colleague, Richard Boulter.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you for this opportunity to speak today on the eve of the International Day for Mines Awareness and Assistance in Mine Action. More than a quarter of a century after signing the Anti-Personnel Mine Ban Convention, commonly referred to as the Ottawa Treaty, landmines, improvised explosive devices, and unexploded ordnance continue to cause death and injury on a daily basis. On average, one person is killed or injured by such explosive devices every hour. Many children among the victims. The use of improvised explosive devices has expanded, terrorizing civilians and threatening humanitarian actors and the United Nations missions and personnel. In 2025, the International Day for Mine Awareness and Assistance in Mine Action will be commemorated under the theme Safe Futures Start Here. Building on the Pact of the Future, the United Nations Mine Action Community stresses the need for funding micro and quick impact projects to address urgent needs of persons with physical disabilities affected by conflict. This initiative reinforces the global commitment to civilian protection and to scaling up technology and innovation capacities in developing countries. UNMAS coordinates the global mine action activities of 12 UN departments, agencies, programs, and funds in the Interagency Coordination Group of Mine Action, which aims to ensure an effective, proactive, and coordinated United Nations response to the threat posed by landmines and explosive remnants of war. In line with this, in 2024, UNMAS surveyed and cleared hazardous areas to render them safe for use, demined and checked roads to facilitate safe movement and trade, destroyed tens of thousands of mines and items of ordnance, supported UN missions and host nations in weapons and ammunition management by destroying degraded stocks and facilitating the construction of safe storage in line with international standards. We worked with national authorities to promote national ownership by enhancing their ability to manage the sector in their respective nations and supported them in developing context-appropriate national standards. We've trained member states in the detection and clearance of improvised explosive devices, both to support domestic capacities and in the preparation of troops for peace operations. We coordinated the sector in its efforts to deliver clearance and risk education efforts and promoted adherence to international standards, as well as advocated for support to the sector. And we've acted as the provider of last resort in places such as Gaza, when the United Nations has stayed to deliver on its humanitarian mandate. Now I'd like to pass the floor to my colleagues Edwin Faigmane and Fatma Zourrig to speak in more detail on their efforts and the programs they manage, and we'll be happy to take questions later. Fatma, I pass you the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Greetings from Tripoli. This is Fatma Zourrig. I'm representing the UNMAS program in Libya. And thank you for this opportunity. I would like to clarify that Libya unfortunately continues to bear the long-lasting impact of conflict, particularly from explosive remnant of war. Between May 2020 and early 2025, more than 200 accidents were recorded, resulting in over 300 victims, including 125 deaths, many of them civilians and children. In 2024, 2024, unfortunately, we witnessed 19 incidents with 43 victims, and already this year, a child has tragically lost his life. While these numbers may seem lower compared to other heavily affected contexts like Syria, where such incidents may be recorded in a monthly basis, they remain deeply concerning in Libya. Each incident here carries significant humanitarian and psychological weight. I would like to clarify that every life lost or changed by explosive remnant contamination delays Libya recovery, undermines the stability on the ground. The threats range from anti-personnel and anti-vehicle mines to UXOs, IED, and insecure ammunition. Libya's vast ammunition storage area, many of which were damaged and destroyed, still hold hundreds of bunkers, some of which are insecure and pose serious risk. Sites like Misrata and others remain contaminated with munition and damaged bunker, requiring further clearance, and it has been, at least in Misrata, 10 years of clearance. And yet progress is being made with clearance across Libya in collaboration with our partners from a humanitarian, civilian, humanitarian, or also military and security institution, with several risk education sessions, helping families and children understand how to stay safe and to remain away from these hazardous items. Since 250, I would like also to mention that 863 Libyan officers, including 79 women, have been trained in different aspects: explosive ordnance disposal, weapon and ammunition management, and risk education. These achievements are thanks to strong collaboration with national partners, including the Libyan Mine Action Center, and also the security institutions, starting from military engineering to National Safety Authority to Ministry of the Interior. Still, the challenges remain real and urgent. Recontamination of cleared area continue due to insecurity and clashes and conflicts. And sophisticated IEDs and uncontrolled arms circulation increase also risks daily. And many national institutions still need support, and either with the training or equipment or coordination. And funding, of course, remain inconsistent, making it difficult to plan long term. Mine action in Libya is not just a technical task. It is a humanitarian and peace building impressive. It is about saving lives, restoring confidence, and enabling people to return home. I would like to say thank you for this opportunity again. And I'm happy to receive any question, and I would like to pass the floor to my colleague in Nigeria. Edwin, please.
It's Edwin Faigmane, and I represent UNMAS in Nigeria. For those unfamiliar with the context, in northeast Nigeria, the fight against Boko Haram, ISWAP, and other non-state armed groups has entered its 16th year. Since the fighting began, over 2 million people have left their homes and sought refuge in IDP camps. The fighting has led to contamination from explosive ordnance, including mines of an improvised nature, or IEDs, and unexploded ordnance. In 2024, UNMAS recorded the highest number of civilian casualties from explosive ordnance since 2019. We recorded 418 civilian casualties in northeast Nigeria alone. These 418 civilian casualties represent a 62% increase in the number of civilian casualties as compared to numbers of 2023. So far in 2025, we have recorded 45 civilian casualties. The number of civilian casualties is concerning. Displaced people are returning to areas that have high numbers of explosive ordnance incidents. The government is moving to end the protected displacement by adopting durable solutions for internal displacement. This strategy will see the decongestion of IDP camps and the establishment of pathways for return, resettlements, or relocation. The overall aim is to close and decommission all IDP camps. However, UNMAS data shows that 12 of the 15 local government areas of IDP return are where 87% of the explosive ordnance incidents have happened in 2024. In addition, UNMAS is also recording the increasing use of IEDs in northwest Nigeria and in northeast Nigeria. UNMAS is working with the Nigerian government to mitigate the risks from explosive ordnance. UNMAS delivers risk education with national NGOs working across the region. We are working also with the police and civil defense to deliver risk education in areas that are not accessible by humanitarian actors. This initiative is funded by the British government. In addition, UNMAS, with funding from the Japanese government, is beginning to work with the police and civil defense through the newly established National Mine Action Center to train the first 2 humanitarian demining teams in the country. And UNMAS has also started gathering information on explosive ordnance incidents in the northwest region of the country, where a newly designated terrorist group operates, the Lakurawa group. Bottom line, the fight against Boko Haram, ISWAP, and other non-state armed groups is now in its 16th year in northeast Nigeria. UNMAS in 2024 recorded 418 civilian casualties, the highest number recorded since 2019. There is an increased use of IEDs by Boko Haram, ISWAP, and other non-state armed groups. There's a new terrorist group in northwest Nigeria, and displaced people are returning to 12 of 15 local government areas of IDP return. And these local government areas are significantly affected by explosive ordnance. We need to do more to support the safe and dignified returns of IDPs and refugees. UNMAS Nigeria would like to thank its donors, ECHO, Japan, UK Aid, USAID, along with our partners UNICEF and the Internal Displacement Solutions Fund. Thank you very much, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to address them.
Thank you, Richard, Fatma, and Edwin for those updates and for the overview and for giving us some information which doesn't usually get passed around the United Nations headquarters. So it's great to get a little bit more deeply involved with that. We'll now be happy to open it up to any questions. First, we'll start in the room. If anyone in the room would have a question. Don't be shy. And if no one in the room has a question, anyone online have a question? Well, that was the easiest press conference we've done for a while. No probing, interesting questions? All right. Well, thank you all for being here today. Edwin, thank you for your time. Fatma, it was wonderful to see you. Richard, thank you for your preparation and coming here, and everyone else. And please do send us any questions if you have them. And I wish you a very happy April 3rd. We did this on April 3rd, so you would have things to write about on April 4th, as tomorrow is the International Day. So if you want any follow-up, please do reach out, and I wish you a very good day.